The gods favour the bold, and boy oh boy are we being bold today. My name's a Rubber Duck of War, and I'm going to be leading the forces of Crack Kadrin up against Nagarath, led by the legendary warrior himself, Mr. Logic. This was a good fun game we actually did on one of his Twitch live streams. We're having some fun, bringing some pretty wild builds, and we have a scheme, arguably the greatest DAWI scheme of all time in today's battle. With a nice little look at our deployment zone, there's basically no dwarfs, or is there? There is one, and he is certainly hiding in the shadows behind the one tree that would actually give him the hidden trait in my deployment zone. We have a glorious and rather regal looking dwarf here. The colour scheme of Crack Kadrin is by far and away my favourite for the DAWI. That royal red looks so badass, and he's pumped up, ready to go, but he's going to have to wait his turn at the moment, for he is hidden at the moment in the trees, waiting for the opportune moment to strike. But if my DAWI build's not here, where is it? Oh yes, we're basically corner camping unintentionally at the start, but we will be driving forward. We have gone for the dreaded full Vanguard build, or at least as Vanguarded as you can get. Unfortunately, oh Lord, cannot be Vanguarded for the Dwarves. And our build right now looks like an absolute mess, and that's because it is. We have a bucket ton of miners, including the Regiment of Renown, so 5 miners across the board, all with blasting charges. We also have 4 Bugman Rangers, then plus on top of that the Ulfar Raiders, the Regiment of Renown, who come in with a really useful ability called Marked by Ulfar. A little look down here, negative armor, missile resistance, and parry. Very good, because we also have a load more rangers on top of this. So the majority of our build is going to bring in that long-range firepower to the battlefield. But in the middle, we also have the Regiment of Renown Ironbreakers, the Norglin Ironbreakers, who are a little bit more stable than a reminder of our force. They're going to have to push forward and hold the battle line, whilst our Rangers and Bugman Rangers bring the pain to the enemy. But look at this glorious horde of DAWI marching forth. My opponent isn't yet aware of the trap we have ensnared for him today. For his forces, he does go for a bit of a Nagarath-themed build, which I like to see. We actually have double Shadow Walkers on the flanks. Shadow Warriors can be okay in this matchup. Shadow Walkers may be a little bit too expensive, but hey, when the theme arises, you have to go for it. We also have the Rahagras Pride, another super fun unit brought by Logic today. The Regiment of Renown War Lines. They do actually have anti-infantry and armor piercing, relatively swift, so should be able to get into the back line of any DAWI force and bring it to bear with teeth and claw. On the flanks, we have Rangers to try to deal with Slayers, and we also have triple Swordmasters in the front, and in this colour scheme, they look absolutely beautiful and brutal at the same time. Backing up, we have triple Archers with light armour, which is pretty damn nice little bit of flair there with the light armour added on top. We have a Mage of High Magic, very much recommend this Mage. Apotheosis to heal up those Swordmasters, Soul Quench to beam down the line on top of Ironbreakers and other units, and a Tempest as well. Leading the battle force, though, is the vengeful, the ever-vengeful Alistair, though he's trying to power his rage on the dwarves, which I think is a little unheard of, because, you know, he is a Dark Elf hater through and through. So, you know, this is going in the book. Alefnar trying to strike a dwarf. I don't like it. We're coming here to bring our own vengeance, and oaths have been sworn. Battle shall indeed commence. Now, we need a little bit of a bait here by picking Crack Kadrin. We were going for some Mimi battles, and I'm assuming my opponent thought I was going to go Mass Slayers, of course, bringing the glorious Crack Kadrin. My opponent does turn around, so it looks like I have actually been trapped in the corner. Little does my opponent know that my big brain DAWI play is working. This isn't even the Vanguard. You think this is the Vanguard? You think this is the trap? No. I want my opponent to spot this, because the true Vanguarded troop is the Dwarf Lord. He's going to be bomb rushing across the battlefield just at the right time to deliver that killing blow from behind. He is truly the master of all DAWI schemes and plans. This, it's but a humble distraction for our Dwarf Lord to march forward and slay the enemies of all DAWI kind. Although the battle is going to get underway over in this corner, I'm trying to reposition all my troops at the moment. They're not having it. They're bouncing around between each other, and it's a little bit of a mess. But hey, it was a mess of DAWI, so we like it nonetheless. The miners will be taking a forward position here to try to absorb some of the enemy's damage, whilst we get our Bugman Rangers and our basic Rangers into line to counter-shoot with the enemy. Now, the Shadow Walkers are a big pain in my butt. They have pretty decent range, they can skirmish very effectively, but likewise, we have a load of Vanguarded troops in the form of the Rangers, so we're going to be able to get off a few volleys and start to trade blows now in this range battle. The Swordmasters don't know what to do. They're lurking at the back of the formation, thinking, hey, can we out-trade the enemy here? Because the blasting charge is going to hurt quite a bit. And on the approach, Swordmasters are such good swordsmen, they can carve arrows out of the skies, deflecting them to the side. However, this is a lot of arrows coming down, so I don't think they're going to be able to stop quite that many. I realize my mistake here. I'm actually pulling back the miners because they're relatively important to our battle line, and I'm going to be pushing forward with all my range units. I'm more than happy to trade like this. We have way, way more crossbows than my opponent even has arrows. So he should be able to blot out the sun and start dragging down these lightly armored archers, forcing them back to more of a defensive approach. Now, I think the High Elves have to get really aggressive here. A nice cheeky little plays coming in now. The Mage of High Magic is going to be moving down the flank, and look at this beautiful line. If she can get a Soul Quench all the way going down and hit my Iron Breakers, that is going to be some devastating damage. Alathanar's doing some 360 no-scopes in the middle. We have managed to force back the archers, at least for now. I am desperately trying to bring down this Mage before she can deliver her multi-Soul Quench, and she's attempting to cast it there, but she is taking so much damage. She's whirling her staff around, but is it going to be enough in time? No, it is not, because the Ulthar Raiders are nearby, launching axe after axe into the flank of her beast, and Marked by Ulthar goes down, and she's going to be forced off the battlefield. I'm not sure why that Soul Quench took so long to cast, but it looks like she is actually going to be forced off, and we've already evened the odds. No magic for us. That means no magic for the High Elves as well. We are trading shots relatively effectively right now. The archers are starting to struggle. We do have the Rahagra's Pride and the Swordmasters starting to get a little bit more aggressive. I think my opponent realizing, hey, I'm not going to win this range fight. Even with the Shadow Walkers on the flanks trying to get in there, we simply have too many cost-effective trades in the form of the Rangers and the Bugmans, who can heal up by sipping on a nice cold brew. Swordmasters will be advancing. Our Dwarf Lord in the distance is still just hiding behind the tree, but he's waiting. He's planning his moves. He's got schemes. Don't you worry about him. He's certainly going to be coming in to strike at the right time. Rahagra's Pride desperately trying to get in somewhere, but there's no real flank, and we're kind of just like hiding right now, hiding in this little corner as the Miners of Blasting Charges do some really nice damage to the Rahagra's Pride. They're trying to shut down as many units in one go. You can see they do bring in their Mighty Roar, lowering the speed, and they're actually getting in there and doing some really nice damage to the Miners. I'm going to fall back now of all my Rangers and move the Norgling Ironbreakers forward, as well as the Miners. You can see Rangers retreating all along the battle line as the Swordsmasters get pretty damn close. Now, the Swordmasters in combat can destroy my entire build, but we have so much range support. I'm hoping to whittle them down before they can really get in there and slice and dice. It looks like one unit of Rangers was forced off by the Rahagra's Pride, and they did about 3 cores damage to this unit of Miners, but it's not going to matter. We are going to be able to fend them off due to the nearby support of the Ulthar Raiders, who are used to hunting such beasts in their kind of day-to-day business. Swordmaster's taking a bucket ton of damage right now as the Miners really get in there. And oh my god, the Swordmasters, they don't want to mess with the Dwarfs today. Only 1 kill so far. On the other flank, though, we do have Rangers starting to swoop in. Swordmasters have hopped on top of a unit of Rangers and Bugmen, so it's getting a little bit scary for us. Bounce power's well in our favor. Shadow Walkers are launching shots up and over, getting into a nice position to hit our Rangers in the flank. And look who it is, the Dwarf Lord. He's on the move. He spots Alathanar, and he is running, pounding, sprinting across the battlefield. Dwarfs are very dangerous over such distances. Rangers are now slicing their way through the Ekron Miners, which is really bad news for me, because once these Miners go down, there's not that much in the way of my opponent using these melee troops to jump on top of the Rangers and force them back. And it looks like, yeah, the Elf Rangers are going to be hunting down my own ones. Swordmasters managed to get into contact with the Bugmans. There is only 33 of them left standing, very low HP. If we can break them, the backline will indeed be saved, but it is looking a little bit dicey there now. The Shadow Walkers are retreating back and trying to stay on the flanks. This unit has used up all its ammunition, which normally means it's done some pretty good work, and the archers are really starting to bring quite a lot of pain to me. So I'm going to pull the big brain move once again. I'm going to start attacking with my Miners into the archers. If he wants to pull Swordmasters off the front line to protect them, that is absolutely fine for me. As long as I can keep my ranged core happy, we're in this nice defensive solid position, raining shots down in all sides, and it looks like the battle is really turning quite heavily in our favor, despite the fact Alathanar has been untouched so far, and he's used up a decent amount of his ammunition. Now, Alathanar, he's a smart cookie. He's realized the biggest threat on the battlefield isn't all these bows. No, it is this mighty, completely naked Dwarf Lord. So he's shooting at him, trying to keep him back, but vengeance is in his heart, and he's going to be driving forward more and more. We're getting really low on ammunition on some of these units. We do manage to fend off the High Elves in all different directions, and a rather solid Pyrrhic victory for the mighty DAWI. Yes, the Dwarf Lord, just being in sight of Alathanar, was able to just fill his heart with so much terror, more than Malekith could instill in him, and he flees from the battlefield. Well played to Logic, a very silly battle for you guys today. I had a bit of a short time to record, so I was like, hey, let's do one of the silly battles we have. Really fun stuff. Both of us bring some pretty meme stuff. Obviously, we've got the Rahagra's Pride and Shadow Walker style build coming in from Logic, no chariots or usual stuff you would see in this matchup. And we went for the full Vanguard, which at the end of the day isn't garbage. It's kind of pointless to put it in the corner like that. You might as well jump your opponent from the front because the dwarfs simply don't have the legs on them to chase down the enemy and make the most of that surprise attack. So if you're in front of them, hey, you get to jump them very quickly, which is good news for you. And having a lot of crossbows really isn't a bad thing whatsoever. I think this build might even be tournament legal. How many ranges do we have? 3, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Yeah, this is a completely legal build, at least in any rule set where blast and charges don't count as range. I'm not sure if they've changed that in fruit rules. I know banner rules, this would be absolutely fine. Once again, well played to Logic. We did stream a load of fun games at the start of his latest Twitch channel, so make sure to go check him out. He is also a YouTuber as well, with Logic_EU. Really cool dude and makes a load of good content. And this was a silly battle. We managed to catch him off guard with the big brain DAWI plays, and I certainly thoroughly enjoyed it. I hope you guys did as well. I'll get into the damage dealt and damage value of all of these units in just a second, but before then, if you guys enjoyed, make sure to leave a big fat juicy thumbs up, subscribe to the channel for more Total War Warhammer content into the future, and comment down below what you thought of our sneaky schemes. There's also a bucket ton of links in the description to my Patreon, where you can support the channel, my Discord, where you can submit replays, get involved with live streams and all that kind of cool stuff. And there's like a link down there to my Twitch, links to everything. If you're interested in that kind of thing, feel free to peruse through at your leisure. But once again, well played to Logic. Let's have a look at his build. So Aliphanar, 105 kills, 1,466 damage value. Very nice work there by Alif. He didn't have too many counters today. Apart from that Dwarf Lord, of course, who certainly would have slain him without a second thought, but Aliphanar managed to at least keep the Dwarf Lord slightly at bay and assist in trying to take down my units, but he didn't have the best targets either. Yes, he can apply a lot of long-range pressure, but apart from the Lord, there's no single entities for him really to snipe out. Mage of High Magic was a little unfortunate. I don't know what went on. She was like swirling her staff around to cast that spell, and I was speaking to Logic during the game, and he was trying to get her to do it, but she was like, no, not today. I'm getting a hit in the face too many times with axes. I'm not about this life, and she fled the battlefield with a mighty 0 across the board for kills, damage dealt, damage value, absolutely zilch. Slayers eventually did pressure. I think need to get in there a little bit early to support the archers rather than trying to trade in the first place. The Rangers, once they got in, started doing some nice damage, but the Swordmasters, 49 damage value, 43, and then 1,100. This was the unit who really managed to get stuck in there. It did cost them their lives. The other Swordmasters, maybe a bit smarter, knowing when they're beaten, they retreated from the battlefield, but this unit died to the last elf. However, 114 kills. Even a dwarf can respect that, these guys. These brave warriors fighting to the bitter end. The archers are light armor, 780, 570, and 400 damage value. The Shadow Walkers, 531 and 1,129 value on them. Rahaga's Pride kind of yeeted in a little bit unsupported, but still did try to chase off a couple of units. Only 200 damage value on them, unfortunately. They needed to be supporting the Swordmasters, one, so they could fight alongside each other and help protect each other, but also that big debuff hurts dwarfs even more, allowing the Swordmasters to push through. For our force, the Mighty Lord, a big fat 0 across the board, but hey, he was the real master here. He's the one who came up with the plan, the vanguard behind the enemy, let my opponent think he had the upper hand, and then burst out from the trees. Unfortunately, he didn't quite have the speed to get to Aliphanar, but he was on his way. He was on his way. The triple gold chevroned miners, I forgot to mention they were triple gold chevron the entire battle, because I couldn't really afford anything else vanguard, so I just put all my money in these guys. 440, 645, 279, 289, and 343 across the board for all the miners, including the Regiment of Renown. Doing their job though, holding the line and buying time for my Rangers and Bugmans to bring the paint. Norglen Ironbreakers are a really fun unit to have in these Vanguard style builds, simply due to the fact they're like a big rock all of a sudden in front of the enemy, who then can't like just push through to get on top of your range units. They have to either go around or fight their way through. One of the toughest units in the game, 530 value on them. As for the Rangers, 600 value, 398, 374, 372, and 631. Trading relatively effectively up against the high elf range, simply due to the fact we had so many crossbows in our build. Ulfar Raiders were quite honestly fantastic. They got that mage off very quickly, getting a whopping 1,126 damage value with 38 kills. And for the Bugmans, we have 1,288 value, 484, 388, and 385. Decent across the board. Some of them did go down, but the Dwarfs were victorious today. Hope you guys enjoyed that one. Until next time, peace, peace. And as always, stay awesome.